I am in my 30s, and I am about to tell you of the scariest night of my life. I had just gotten home from work at around 6 p.m. My wife and daughter had decided to visit my wife's parents that evening and left my young son and myself alone. It was a long, tough day at work, and I found myself drifting off while reading on my bed. Meanwhile, my son was watching TV in his bedroom. His door was shut. I drifted off into full-on slumber when something awoke me. Not a sound or anything, just a sickening feeling of dread. I got up out of bed and saw my dog was lying on the ground next to the bed, as she was when I laid down a little over 2 hours ago. It was around 8:30 at this time, and I realized my wife and daughter were still gone. I walked into the living room and saw my house to be completely dark. I walked to my son's bedroom and opened the door. Extreme uneasiness came over me as I opened his door to darkness, and he was not there. I immediately did an about face and stomped down the hall, yelling his name. No response. I stood in the pitch-black kitchen for a moment, trying to comprehend what was happening and where my son could be. I pulled my cell phone out of my pocket and dialed my wife. Hello? Baby, is John with you? Did you guys come home? I felt my heart sink into my stomach when she said a firm and confused, no? She then asked, what do you mean? Where is he? I stood in the darkness and felt like I was going to explode with pure fear. He's not in the house. I'm calling Brandon's house. He's probably... My wife cut me off in a bold tone. What do you mean? Okay. I told her I'd call her right back. I called Brandon's house phone, and his mother answered after 3 rings. Hi, Teresa. Is John over there? She sounded confused and replied, Yes? You didn't know he came over? The amount of relief I felt, I cannot tell you. I told Brandon's mother to send John home immediately, that he was in big trouble. They only lived 6 houses down from us on the same street, but my son was only 9 years old. I should have called the police that night, and I will tell you why. My wife got home pretty quick after that with my daughter. John walked in the door like nothing was wrong. What the hell do you think you're doing leaving the house without my permission? He looked at me like I was insane. Dad, you said I could go. I asked you. I glared at him with an equally puzzled look on my face. When? No, I did not. When you were outside my bedroom door, playing. My look of confusion turned into sheer terror. What are you talking about? I fell asleep on my bed. I was never playing outside your door. What? My son responded. You knocked, and I said come in, and you giggled. You were playing. I asked if I could go to Brandon's, and you said yes. At this point, I was a mixture of extreme confusion and fear. John, I've been asleep. I never said you could go. I never played. My son looked at me very confused, as I looked at him with the same look, but with added fear. Fast forward a bit now. I had chalked this up to a misunderstanding. My son was either lying to me or was hearing things, or I had done these things and had no memory of it because of how tired I was, perhaps. I really didn't know. That night, we were all laying in bed, and I was laying there in the darkness, my wife asleep. We had a back door connected to our master bedroom. The back door had a huge glass window on it, almost the full length of the door, and I could see the entire backyard. It was a normal thing for me to look out there periodically throughout the night, because it was right in my line of sight when I would lay on my right side. While lying there, trying to make sense of the earlier incident, I felt the blood in my veins turn from a warm flow to an icy cold current. There was a man crouched down in my backyard underneath my trampoline, staring at me. The man did not move. He had no idea I was looking at him. Suddenly, the man forced me to react. He moved very quickly out from under the trampoline and toward my daughter's bedroom window, which was just out of my view. Just as quickly as that happened, I heard my daughter scream bloody murder. I shit you not, no exaggeration. I was out of that bed and in her room in less than 3 seconds. In the midst of her scream, my son opened his door as I flew by, my wife right behind me. I switched on her light to see her sitting up in bed, screaming, glaring at her bedroom window, glaring at the maniac with his palms pressed against her glass and laughing hysterically. I gasped, grabbed my daughter, and all of us ran into the kitchen, where I grabbed the house phone off the wall, dropping it due to the speed I had tried to do so. I picked it up off the ground and very shakily dialed 911. The man's laugh had ceased, and none of us moved. My wife and I clutched kitchen knives as the 4 of us crouched in the dark and waited for the police to come. To my surprise, they showed up very quickly and knocked on the front door. I let them in and told them what had happened. They walked through the whole house, then into the backyard, and found nothing. He was gone. After talking with the cops for a while and puzzling all the pieces together, I concluded that the man had been in my house earlier that evening while I slept and played a little game with my son. To this day, I have no idea why this happened, who he was, or what happened to him, but none of us ever saw him again. He was never caught. I bought a firearm very shortly after this incident.